What up, everybody? It's your boy Mr. Crack, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page at Mr. Crack 15, man. But this is my new mixtape blog. Title is Young Thug, Lil Yachty, and Young Thug Scared of Uncle Murda. Yeah, that's my title, man, because I want to know, man, because I just don't like all the weak stuff that's been going on a lot lately. I see people pick and choose they fights and battles like that don't make sense to me and stuff. So I'ma just break it down why I think they scared. So we gonna start it off, and I know Southern people always feel like, yo, these East Coast niggas are biased as hell. So that's why I had to add Joe Buttons when I thought about it. Like, alright, let me add Joe Buttons to not to show that I'm biased or showing some type of favoritism or anything. I'm just speaking the facts from when I watch all these interviews and blogs that read the blogs and what's going on, man. It just seems like dudes are scared to respond to Uncle Murda. It's not just one. And I seen at least Joe Buttons blatantly ignore something when confronted with it. Now we're gonna start with Joe Budden. This is why I think Joe Budden is scared to respond to Uncle Murda, right? So Uncle Murda was on I'm not sure, the Breakfast Club or Hot 97, and they asked, you know, Uncle Murda had end up throwing a shot at Joe Buttons by saying like, yo, we don't eat pussy and stuff. That's Joe Buttons thing. And everybody started breaking out laughing, right? You know, it was a joke and stuff and everything. But they kind of Uncle Murda was clowning Joe Buttons and stuff. So, you know, like, it's a joke. It's not that serious and stuff. But, you know, knowing Joe Buttons, he take any little thing he could get his hands on, and then he blows it up, man. He done been in numerous beef and stuff. So I said, I wonder if Joe Budden seen this, but I don't know. I know he's a busy man. He's not gonna watch every last interview. But then he did on his podcast an interview. I forgot what he was talking about, but I remember him saying that he likes what Mano and Uncle Murda doing when they dropped the King Kong and Godzilla mixtape and stuff. He like, yeah, I like the whole vibe and energy that they bringing. And his co-host pointed out to him like, yeah, but they was clowning you on the radio and stuff. And then Joe Buttons just completely skipped over and they kept talking. I'm like, yo, this you serious? He not gonna say nothing. He's just gonna gloss over and not say anything. Like, yo, is he really scared to respond to Uncle Murda? Like, I don't like that. Like, if you're gonna talk about Lil Yachty, then why not talk about Uncle Murda? Don't pick and choose your battles. You fight all battles when confronted. But, you know, I think he's scared. That's just my personal opinion. I don't want to hear that he's not big enough. Like, Uncle Murda got a solid fan base. He's doing millions of views and everything. He signed to 50 Cent, man. He's traveling and touring and everything. So I don't want to hear no excuse why artists today are scared to respond. Like, just, if somebody asks you, just say, yeah, I'm scared. Don't be ducking and dodging and making excuses, because you clearly ducked that when you was confronted with it by your co-host and stuff. Now Lil Yachty, right? Uncle Murda been sending a lot of shots at Lil Yachty for dissing Biggie and stuff. Says, I don't know the lines, I don't remember them, but I know he said something in the wrap up where, Uncle Murda said like, yes, you know, Lil Yachty should get slapped up or punched or something, like, or beat up for talking about Big. I'm like, you know, Lil Yachty ain't gonna respond to that and stuff. You know, Lil Yachty doing his thing and shit. He probably gonna look at Uncle Murda as an old head and stuff. He ain't gonna respond to that. So then I was like, all right, cool. Now he never been confronted with him as far as did he hit a diss or the shots that Uncle Murda was sending. But I'm thinking like, yo, he does an interview with Joe Buttons, and Joe Buttons don't even really diss him or anything. I ain't hear nothing like where Joe Buttons was really bashing him. You know, all I remember from the interview that he did with Joe Buttons on Everyday Struggle, you know, asking him about his contract, and the nigga don't even know what a 360 is or the details in his contract. Like, this whole big beef is brewing between Joe Budden and Lil Yachty like it's something serious, and then next thing you know, Amigos jump in it because they don't like how Joe Budden's just talking about Lil Yachty. I'm like, yo, people can't have opinions on certain artists. Like, man, I think Jay-Z overrated. I don't expect Jay-Z to get mad or want to do anything to me because my personal opinion. So, like, why the Migos jumping in this? It ain't even that serious. So then they, dropped the new song, Ice Tray, and they dissing Joe Budden. It's like, yo, but Uncle Murda say you should get beat up for dissing Biggie, and you're not gonna say nothing back to him? That's when I'm like, yo, these dudes are scared to respond to Uncle Murda. Now this one, there's no way Young Thug can back out of this one, cause this one was on him. Uncle Murda did a freestyle on the radio station on Shade 45 on one of those radio stations, and he said in the line that if Future given the word, he'll get Young Thug shot and stuff, and that was all over the internet, man. That damn near went viral and stuff. Everybody was talking about that one, right? So, I'm like, alright, I don't think he gonna say anything or respond. But then I seen later on, like on Twitter, Young Thug said that he's the new Tupac or like Tupac or something, and then YFN Lucci said to Young Thug that Pop wouldn't wear a dress. And then Young Thug responded back to him saying, like, calling him a peon and shut up and all this, just started talking crazy. But I'm like, yo, I know you had to hear what Uncle Murda said about you, and you not gonna say nothing to that. I just don't like people that pick and choose their battles. I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, let me pick on this midget, but when somebody my height or taller comes, I back down from it. I think if you're gonna respond to something little as what YFN Lucci said about you wearing a dress, I would think you would respond just as quick to somebody said that they could get you shot. So, that's why I think these rappers are scared to respond to Uncle Murda. I don't want to hear that nonsense that, he's not mainstream. Like, son, dude got millions of views. He got over 100,000 listens and stuff on his mixtape. So people hear Uncle Murda. I don't want to hear none of that. Niggas are just scared to respond, and that's how I feel, So, yo, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Mr. Crack 15. Add me on Facebook at Mr. Crack. And subscribe to my YouTube page, Mr. Crack 15. Oh, my fault. Mr. Crack Mixtapes. Yeah, that's how it's going down. 1